No, Catherine, I think, was the great grand. And they had 11 children.
And these are you've listed.
And
you've
these are the
kindly
children.
listed them.
And this is where your grandfather.
Yes,
Yeah,
Joseph.
Joseph Frisz. Okay, but the oldest in the family, they were married, and she died. The mother died when my mother was only 2 years old. So my mother was raised by her sisters. When Grandpa Frisz, the Civil War veteran, married and traveled through southern Indiana. For some reason, they were born in Alsace, in France, Alsace-Lorraine in France. And they landed in Mississippi, in New Orleans, and came up the Mississippi. Some of the family stayed in Memphis, but most of them came up to Indiana, southern Indiana, near Cincinnati, Covington. And then they traveled. So all of these 11 kids were born someplace in southern Indiana. And
On the route.
It's en route. So over a period of time, Grandfather Frisz was a bridge contractor.
Really?
And he built bridges. That was his field.
That's amazing.
You know, I am not sure. He could write, but I'm not sure how well he could read. You know, because in those days, reading and writing were not
Two different things, huh?
a big deal.
That's right.
And so I'm not sure about that. So he and his wife was Anna, I think, settled in Terre Haute. The oldest member of the oldest child was, let's see, I think he was. Oh no, Anna was the oldest.
Anna was the oldest,
the oldest. And then came Anthony Frisz, Tony Frisz. He died early. Joseph P.
Then
Frisz in Cincinnati.
Our grandfather.
Then 3 of the girls became nuns. And they were all hospital nuns. Grandmother, so the story goes, despite the fact that she had all these kids, when she was pregnant with my mother, she and Grandpa went down to New Orleans for the Mardi Gras. And I tell that story because I think it's a wonderful story.
It is a
Can you
wonderful
imagine
story,
leaving
yeah.
10 kids at home?
Who watched them?
Well, the oldest one was Anna, so Anna was in charge. And they stopped in Memphis, so the story goes, and visited some of the relatives that they had known, and then went on down to New Orleans for the Mardi Gras.
It's a great story.
I think it's a wonderful story.
You'd be arrested today
Go
if you
for
did
it.
that.
Oh,
but-
yeah.
Why not? Leaving,
Oh, yeah.
loving kids. Anyway,
Child Protection Services.
then Tony Frisz died about 1915. I didn't know him. Anna was the oldest. She never married. Mary Frisz was also one of the oldest ones. She died about 1900. She was a Franciscan nun. Sophie Frisz was a Franciscan nun. She was a X-ray technician. And Catherine Frisz, I don't know whether you ever knew her or not, whether she may have come to Cincinnati.
I don't have any
But
recollection of
anyway,
her.
Catherine Frisz was also a nun. Catherine was very outgoing, and she rapidly became a superior, and then she was head of the order for a while, the Franciscan order. She was a very delightful person, and was a consummate politician, if you want, in the best sense. You know, she knew how to make things happen.
Yeah.
She was kind of like my mother. They were very close.
I can remember Cece. I don't know if she came to Cincinnati to visit Joe or whatever. And this would go back to the early 50s, that she was in the car with Herman. Would she have smoked?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
I remember her being in the car and Grandpa Frisz, Herman driving, and she's smoking a car. She has her habit on, and we're on Westwood Avenue, and these cars are pulling up, and for somebody else to look in and to see a nun smoking a cigarette was kind of like almost having a wreck.
They said, that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. I thought, no, it wasn't.
I'm pretty sure that's when you said that.
When she
Yeah.
came in the house, the first thing she did was take off her bonnet. She had reddish hair, like my mother had reddish hair. She was absolutely charming. I
Yeah.
mean, she was a delightful storyteller. She was a fascinating woman, a real personality. And the first thing she did, take off her bonnet, put on an apron.
Then probably light up a cigarette
Yeah.
Light up a cigarette and have a drink.
Have a drink.
in that order.
When we visited Cleveland, and she was head of the surgical nursing team, when we went to the surgery and sat around and had a drink. She had a bottle, and we sat around and all had a drink at surgery.
I don't think that would happen today.
No.
Oh, she was really something. She was an absolute delight. Soph was an older sister. She was a nun, but she was much more the pious type, you know. Then let's see. There's Joseph Frisz. Anna never married. She was the oldest and took care of the family. Tess Frisz, Teresa. She was a corset specialist, and in those days, she worked at the Hers Company, which is a big department store, big in Terre Haute at that time. And she had her own clientele, and she made enough money as a corset specialist. She did a round-the-world trip. She did a separate trip to Europe. She traveled all over the place. Went up to Alaska when you know, before anybody traveled to
went there,
Alaska.
Yeah.
Went to Panama.
Really?
Oh yeah, she traveled all over the place.
By herself?
Well, I think she had met friends or had friends along the way.
Okay.
Is she
No,
the, is she
by
the
herself.
one that Amy had the postcards?
Might be,
And
yeah.
Elizabeth still had postcards left and some of her memorabilia in the basement
Yeah.
when we cleaned out her house. And
They had some of
Amy
the
kept
pyramids.
the postcards. They're all handwritten.
Yeah.
And what was the first name again?
Teresa,
But
Tess.
they called her Tess. I
Yeah.
think
Tess,
that's
yeah.
right. I
I
think
think
that's
it
right.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want that light on?
I don't know.